I'm Greg. I work at PepsiCo. I'm the CMO of North America Beverages at PepsiCo. I just got married six months ago. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I've got 2 kids, and for those of you old enough, there's this show called The Brady Bunch, and we just joined families. My wife's coming in tonight, and we're going to go to the south of France for the long weekend after this.
Nice.
Looking forward to that.
You know how to plan. You're a can expert.
So I'm Troy. I'm the CEO of TBWA. I'm still married, which is not bad either. And I have too many children. So if you want one, I've got plenty for you. I've got 4 of them. They're all good fun. So, but it's great to be here, and I thank all of you for coming along.
Great. Well, we'll get started. Greg, I'm going to start with you. So the PepsiCo family, the portfolio has creatively been back in the spotlight. Tell us a little bit about the creative journey that you've been on.
Okay, so we're always on a creative journey. That's one of the fun things about marketing is that you're always on a journey somewhere, and you continue to need to learn and stay, current and relevant. I'm on a big kick these days on 3 things. So the first kick is called human centricity, and so if, as marketers, we obviously always need to make sure we understand who we're marketing to, what's happening in their lives, how our brands fit into their lives, what's cool, culture, etc. What I learned in the pandemic is that human centricity is not just about the human beings that you serve. It's also about your team and your partners. And the pandemic really brought this to life, and the virtual world did. And we're spending a lot of time really trying to invest in authentic relationships with each other, because I've seen that when you do that, things get faster, trust builds. Like I work with a bunch of your different teams, but I work with Nancy and Amy a lot at Chiat on Mountain Dew, and it's great to have a partner like Amy, who's your chief creative. She's a mom first, right? And she's also, and I think that makes her a better chief creative officer. And it's wonderful to be friends with someone, and then you can say, "Hey, Amy, this work sucks," and she doesn't take it personally. Not that that's ever happened, but it makes business move faster. So human centricity, number 1, and so important in relationships with, especially client agency relationships. If you can get to really enjoy the people and know them as human beings, that's where. 2 is simplicity. Having looked at a lot of the work around here and a lot of our work, the simplest ideas are still the best ones. The simplest briefs are always the best ones. If you have that real good relationship with your partners, Amy can say, "Greg, that brief is terrible. You're going to get shit creative from this brief." And it's most likely because it's going to be too complicated, right? And so simplicity, prioritize the most important stuff, focus on that. That's 2. And then the third one is consistency. And you look at all the work, the brands that are consistent, the agency relationships with the clients that are consistent. We rotate so much when if we have consistent agency relationships that can make sure the brand isn't being reinvented every 2-3 years, then we're all better. So those 3 things are the big kicks that I'm on right now. And Troy and team have been a terrific partner in helping with all 3 of those things.
A client that does the talk and the walk on simplicity. A simple brief is a dream client. I'll say that. Okay, Troy. TBWA has disruption at the heart. What do you think what's your methodology, or what's your secret sauce to really get clients like Pepsi to stay in front of ahead of the curve and in front of the game?
Well, I think importantly for a lot of clients, and for ourselves, I think we need to understand the conventions of categories and of what's being done in the work today. I don't think enough of us do that very well, to be honest with you. So including agencies, and I think our clients, I think we overall need to really understand what's been done before, what's currently happening, and making sure that we do separate ourselves from that. So that's part of what drives disruption, is making sure we break conventions. I think the second part is about being culturally led, because it's, our competition, beyond the ones that are in our category, beyond the ones that are just in advertising, is culture. And we have a lot to break through right now, and there is a lot of noise out there in the world. And so really understanding what is important to our consumers, what is really certainly exciting them and what interests them, and making sure we're hitting them at the right time in the right place, obviously, is critically important. But getting culture right has been somewhat of an intuitive experience for a lot of agencies, and I don't think we've had as much rigor around that. So we over the last, during COVID period, launched Disruption Index, which really started to track the velocity of these edges of culture, so that we could really stand in front of a client and sort of say, against your business issue, we know that this trend or edge, which is like the age of authenticity, is moving at this pace against Gen Z audiences. And so adding rigor to the conversation, I think, is critical, because these guys are spending a lot of money, and they're also
That's true.
yeah, and they and they're putting a lot of trust, obviously, in the agency partnership as well. And we need to come not just with what is our passion, but ultimately what is going to move the business and drive impact. So for us, disruption is about being disciplined, not just being different. Yes, we want to break the conventions. Yes, we want to find the right place, but it's also about making sure that we set a right vision and then doing it in a way that has never been seen before, because it's hard to break through culture right now.
Yeah. I have a question to build onto that. I spent a lot of years in marketing for tech, HP and Microsoft. How does risk taking come into your formula for disruption? I always think that's interesting to see how people think about that.
Well, you use the word culture. Culture can mean so many different things. We were just talking about what's culture from what's happening out in the world. You have an internal culture as well. And I've been through some leaders that have the culture is one of not risk taking, and I've been with others where it's encouraged. And that's where we're at a place now at Pepsi, is if you, as long as you're learning from it, let's take some risks. And it's so important to make sure that you have some discipline around it, that you document the learnings, and that you really understand your mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my career, so many failures, but that's made me better. And so we love fail. I don't know if we love it. We embrace
Fail
it,
forward.
and we learn from it.
Great. Okay, let's see. We've talked about culture. All right. What approach do you take to kind of similar disruption to what we were just talking about, the boldness for your creative to break through? What are the methodologies? What's the thinking that go around how to nail that? Because you do a lot of it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot with Greg and his team as well. I mean, it's, I think you need a client partner that's as committed to making sure that, when you said before about taking risk, I think it's about being original. I don't think it's necessarily about taking, just risk for risk's sake. It's really making sure that you're coming with original thinking and then backing it up that you've got a way to that. You understood why you were doing what you were doing. So for us, I mean, when you're going through the creative process, I think it is asking yourselves, the question first and foremost, is this the best that we're capable of doing? And a lot of times, rather than just making the meeting, I think it has to be about, are we meeting the standard? And then I think, is asking ourselves a question is this actually going to break through? When you have that as a filter and it's up there on the wall and it says, is this going to break through? Then that's a pretty high standard.
Do you think
and so it forces you to kind of make sure that when you're presenting in front of a client, there's a rationale for why you're making this move. And, Mountain Dew has done a series of work that has really broken through, but it's done it in a way which is also in line with where the brand is being placed. And to do that, when I mean placed, I mean a brand platform. And I think so many brands don't have those guiding principles. And actually, for me, the most exciting phase beyond the output is when the first time we see those 3 words that are going to guide the brand. And when you see those 3 words, you're just oh my God, I know we can go in all these places with this. And that's when the magic starts. Yeah. And that's when you've got the discipline and then you've got the freedom. And I think when you get those 2 things together, shit happens. It's good.
The other discipline that we've added is we stole shamelessly. We actually learned this from Ken. We stole shamelessly from Heineken. That's got something called a creative ladder. And so when we give feedback on creative, that's 1 to 10 on how breakthrough the creative is going to be. Like 10 is game changing, once in a lifetime. And so that's how it's a common language for us all to give feedback on the creative. Hey, that's a good idea. Strategically, you hit the brief at 5, 6 on the creative ladder. Like, let's push for 7, 8. What do we need to do? How do we make it better? Very easy for the client to say that, by the way.
But it's important actually to have criteria. And I think, there has to be a standard and there has to be a review process as well. I mean, I think where you come back afterwards and you sort of look at the body of work and sort of say, look, I mean, the amount of times that we will look at a client and we'll go through all of their messaging and you look at all of their messages out in the world and it's like, oh, we have 43 messages out in the world. Whether it's in store or whether it's, online or whether it's social or what. And you think, God, it's hard enough to break through, let alone 43 times. Yeah. So how, getting back to Greg's simplicity and focus, how do you really make sure you do that? So you need some review process, you need some standards that you got to hit, and you have to have a client that's willing to have honest to a fault sort of characteristics, and that's what we've got here. It's tough love, and you need tough love. And I think from our standpoint, we always love no's over maybes. I mean, many more times we'd rather just drop it and get to the next place, because you can always improve, always.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like the landscape for creativity has changed a lot in recent years. Like TikTok, we have all these things. Like, how do you think about that differently? There's so many different ways, different audiences. So sometimes simplicity is challenging.
Yeah. So first of all, some honest feedback. Yeah. We have no fashion sense. Look at us. We're like matching.
This is the Omnicom team uniform today.
Exactly. It's very good.
You had the wrong brand of shoes on there.
Well, fair enough. I can't wear red. You know that. So how do you? Between you guys. How do you how do you keep it simple? I really believe it's about the creative idea. Like, if you have a strong enough creative idea, it usually works across different platforms. And so it's important to always understand, the best way to reach the person that consumes your products. But the most important thing is getting the idea right. When you've got a really special creative idea, it works everywhere. Some better than others, but and we're getting better. Both us and our agency partners are getting better at what really works on Facebook versus what works on TikTok versus what works on pre-roll and all that stuff. And so we're getting much smarter at optimizing it for each different one. But the creative idea, if it's boring, it's just not going to work anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I think it's that filter of, is it really going to break through? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so just being there and sort of following the template of what other people do, well, there's so many others that are doing that. So then how's that really going to be worthwhile, the investment? And some people are doing a lot of borrowed interest in the world of TikTok as well, and sometimes that's a fantastic thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's, again, how do you break the template, the algorithm, whatever you want it to be? How do you make sure that you truly are going to have a case where you can kind of point that people are going to be talking about this, people are going to be wanting to share this, and if we're honest, I don't think we hold ourselves to that standard enough. I don't think this festival does either, by the way. So
interesting. Okay, so we talked about creative deception, the big idea through the lens of distribution, if that good idea can kind of translate across. How about innovation, which is a little bit different lens?
Sure. Hey, just to finish that last thought, the great creative idea that's going to break through and make people feel something awesome, if it doesn't drive growth, it doesn't matter, right? And so I was just sitting, I'm fortunate enough to be on the board of the ANA, and we were just sitting and talking, the board in there. And I didn't know this, but Cannes this year on some of the judging has made sure that it's not just about awesome creative, but there actually are some results that other than views that people have, and so that's good. We're moving in the right direction. For all the agency folks in the room, like, let me be clear, it is most important of driving growth. Like, the best way to do that is with disruptive, amazing, creative ideas, but like,
accountability matters.
If it doesn't drive growth and in the business, we're not doing it. Or I'm not doing it. Okay, so you asked another question, which I
The
forget.
lens of
Say again.
innovation.
Oh,
How do
innovation,
you think about
super
that
important.
differently?
Yeah, we look at innovation in so many different ways, and I definitely want Troy to answer this question too. But when I first think of innovation, I think of product innovation because that's a lifeblood for our category, and that drives growth for us a lot. And we just need to make sure that that product innovation is incremental and relevant and is providing something that people really love and need, right? But we like I said in the beginning, marketing continues to evolve. So if you don't innovate, you're dead in how you market. And so we innovate in how our ways of working. We innovate in how we, use AI to redo our shelf set. There's no stopping innovating. If you do, you're going to fall so far behind. And it's important to, just like it is important to create the culture that embraces creativity, culture that embraces failure and learning from that, you definitely need an innovative culture as well.
Great.
Yeah, I think for us, we know the consumer is innovating all the time. Their behavior is ahead of us. And so if we're not moving at the speed of culture and the speed of innovation, then we are falling behind and therefore less likely to be impactful. I think it's okay to have too many things going on. I know a lot of people think the reverse and that you need to be focused, but not everything works everywhere. And so you have to be willing to experiment. So to the failures point, you have to be willing to have a lot of innovations. And then a lot of A/B testing and just kind of seeing what you can put out into the world and how does that really apply against a certain audience or a certain geography in our case, as a global company. So look, we always have an always in beta mindset. We have a platform called Next where we're looking at 25 shifts in behavior. But I think the most important thing is to understand, well, why would I do that innovation? What is the strategic imperative behind doing that, not just for innovation's sake? And I think having some rigor around that, to understand that technology, that platform, and then what it's really going to do in that consumer's lives. And then how does that brand really insert itself into it rather than just sponsor it? And a lot of brands, I don't think need to be in a lot of these spaces. They just don't. They don't have to be there. So, but it's about, but making sure you are in the places that really matter to the audience that you've got. But I love innovation. I think it keeps us alive. I think it keeps the agency people alive, and I think it keeps clients interested, and I think it keeps the consumer obviously attached to the brand. And so I think we need more of it, to be honest with you. And growing up, I was in the business on Procter & Gamble growing up, and even Procter used to have a budget of 7% that they used to allocate in their marketing budget towards innovation, that they would try something in their calendar to be able to do that. And I thought that was great discipline, because otherwise it just forces you to sort of commit to the tried and true behavior. So does it have to be 7%? No. But should it be something? Yes.
I love it. I'm always a believer of the test and learn budget. And now I didn't properly say what Samba TV does, so I might just tell people very quickly.
Please.
So we're a TV data measurement company. Our software sits inside the TV. So we see everything that touches the glass. We see gaming, we see streaming, we see linear television. And AI is important to us because we're using AI to how can you make the viewing experience better? How can you give the consumer a better viewing experience? So I would love people to test and learn and kind of learn what they can do with data and measurement and new behaviors. But AI, sometimes do you think it's right now I think everybody, like you said, is doing it for the sake of doing it. Do you have any advice for how to kind of think and focus about what are the right things? How do you guys both direct your teams to say, here's what you should test in, but don't feel like you just have to do it for the sake of saying, I'm using AI in my marketing?
Well, we've been using AI for years and years and years, and it just helps us get faster. There's different types of AI. The machine learning AI is what we've been doing, and so the ingredients that are important to consumers and innovation, AI gets that all together and spits it out pretty quickly. How our shelf should go, our go-to-market, I could go on and on. What we're being very careful with is generative AI. There are privacy concerns with it. There's trademark concerns with it. There's biases with it. And so we're, as a marketer who loves to innovate, we're definitely going to need to play in that space one day, but I don't think it's safe yet to play in. And so we're taking a pretty conservative approach to that type of AI right now.
Okay.
This is our soundtrack, by the way. If you want to get it, we're selling it after the show. No, AI is. I mean, oh God, I'm tired of it this week. I'll be honest.
Me too.
It is the topic of the week. It's yes, it's going to be here for forever, right? So we know that that's going to be the case. I think, yeah, we have, like Pepsi said, we have a lot of clients who are concerned as well, just about all the rights issues that are attached to that. And so we need to experiment, but with guardrails. And so, making sure that we got the right conditions to be able to do that. I think, look, it's going to help us in terms of aggregating knowledge, and we've already been doing that a lot inside of our platforms that we got, like Omni. So that's already been a case for us to start to be able to aggregate knowledge and be able to gather that quickly, and then be able to provide insights and democratize that. So I think that that's there. I think when it gets down to Gen AI, my biggest concern is that people think it's going to be the answer machine, right? Like you put it in the order and out it spits, and that's the wrong way to look at it. I think it's got to be seen as a catalyst, and I just think if used properly, I think it's going to be fantastic for us. It's not going to be the answer. It may be in some forms of, simple, maybe in areas of performance or whatever you want it to be. But even then still, that needs craft. That needs an idea inside of it. That needs curation. So I think I'd like to look at it as the ultimate catalyst and then use it as the launch pad then to go to places that people haven't seen before. So I think it's exciting. I really am. I think it's... I think we maybe are putting too much attention on it right now, and maybe
Apologize
seeing
for
it.
making you talk about it again.
Yeah, but I also think people are seeing it as a solve, and actually the big solve is where are we really at in terms of our brands, our platforms, our strategies, and where are we at with our ideas? Because I would say that we're in a place of good, and good is not good enough.
Anything else?
Agree. We were, just to call it like it is, we were just talking about the creative that we've seen this week. And I think we're good and not great. I think we can do even better. And so I think it's on all, and again, it's easy for the client to say, but I think it's on all of us, especially the clients in the room, to continue to push our creative to a more special place and make sure that it's driving growth again.
And Greg has been amazing with that. I mean, with Mountain Dew, we know in particular, like we are pushing and pushing, and we're even excited about where we are right now. But Greg's like, yeah, but we still got more to do. We're like, yeah, we know, but we're ready to go. But you need that in a client. So, and I think, to be honest, like when we go back after this week, I think for us as a company, we're like, yeah, I mean, for us, it was an okay performance, not great. I think for the industry, it was okay, not great. And I think I'm done with that now. I think now we have to sort of say, okay, what does it really take a seismic change to get back to great? Because this has been pretty average for 3 years now, if you ask me. So let's really commit to this. And I think also let's get focused here at Cannes about what we're really here for. And that means getting back to really big, bold ideas that really change the impact that we can make in this industry. Because I believe we really do have a significant contribution to make.
Okay, we got to wrap up. One last rapid fire. What was your favorite thing favorite experience this week so far?
Other than this?
Well,
Yeah.
of course.
I liked Marcel's kickoff. I thought he was humble. Anheuser-Busch CMO. I thought he was humble and had some really good, simple principles in there. And I thought that the work that he shared was very good.
Great.
I liked the panel that we did on Hilton as well with Amy. I love that there's an ambassador that feels very proud of the brand. I mean, she was, I think she's quite amazing in a way. I mean, I think she really is a brand herself, and I think she really orchestrates that very successfully. And I think that she's also now very much attached to driving success for Hilton and wanting to break through. And so I think seeing someone like that isn't just taking the money and running and actually wants to be involved with brands. And I think as we get to more influencers and getting to more people that, certainly are celebrities or whatever else, getting people who are truly passionate about the brand that we have and then being involved in that brand and then being the proper ambassador for it. So I think it was cool having her on board as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.